Part 31. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 301. When the second elder told the story, Nanyan quickly caught up with the timeline. A year after she left, Fu Yubai also left the profession and chose to return to the family. Fu Yubai came back from Shenangjia and saw that the Fu family was in danger and might not be able to survive at any time. He couldn't bear to have the Fu family's centuries-old foundation destroyed in one fell swoop. Therefore, he took over the management of the Fu family and carried out drastic reforms, allowing the Fu family to cater to society and absorb the advantages of modern society. This saved the Fu family from disappearing in the long river of time. But the Fu family was too decayed, and after hundreds of years of development, it left too many shortcomings, which then turned into heavy burdens, all of which fell on him. He alone carried the foundation of the Fu family, and no one could help him share the burden. It's all good if you don't hold him back. Fu Yubai became like this because of overwork and exhaustion. The aura on Nanyan's body became colder and gloomier following the second elder's words. Is this how the Fu family squeezed her third senior brother to this point? After he fell ill, not only did they not want to help him find a doctor, but they wanted to seize power? The second elder's mouth went dry as he spoke, and he glanced at Nanyan cautiously from time to time. After finishing the last sentence, he asked tremblingly, I have told you everything, should you let me go as promised? In just 10 minutes, he felt that Nanyan's aura was much stronger than before. He didn't even have the courage to look directly at her. There was a hint of coldness in Nanyan's eyes. You should be lucky that my third senior brother can still be saved, otherwise I would have your whole Fu family buried with him. She snorted coldly, remembered something, and looked at him with murderous eyes. Did you send Fu Yunhai before? The second elder was trembling in fear of killing, his face was as pale as paper, he wanted to lower his head to the ground, and he did not dare to answer Nanyan's question. He had a hunch that if he told him, his life would be in danger. But even if he didn't say anything, Nanyan was sure after seeing his appearance. Brother, let's go. She had asked all the questions that needed to be asked, and she was too lazy to stay here any longer. After all, this basement is airtight and the smell is really unpleasant. Okay, Qin Lu stood up and naturally held her little hand. Let us out, please, let us out. As soon as Nanyan and Qin Lu moved, the guard room seemed to go from being idle to being online, and they were all crying and begging for mercy. Keep it closed, and then reduce the amount of food in half. Qin Lu's words immediately made the second elder and the group of people in the basement go crazy. They were already hungry every day, so a small amount of food would not satisfy them at all. Now if it was reduced by half, they would not be able to starve to death? When he walked to the door, Nanyan did not look back and said calmly, you'd better pray that my third senior brother can get well as soon as possible. Only if he opens his mouth and lets you go can you leave here. The second elder. Hashtag. Coming out of the basement, Qin Lu noticed that the little girl didn't look good. He kneaded Nanyan's weak and boneless hands and asked softly, Yan Yan, are you unhappy? Nanyan denied, no, I'm just in a bad mood. Qin Lu laughed helplessly, I'm in a bad mood. Isn't that why I'm unhappy? Different. Nanyan just felt unfair for his third senior brother. He took advantage of his own body, but the family he got in exchange for it turned out to be a waste of time and money for him. Not only was he not grateful at all, but he even wanted to take advantage of his weakness to seize power. Such a family should make him feel so chilled. Since Yanyan is in a bad mood, let's do something to make you feel better. Qin Lu rubbed her head and asked affectionately, it's 10 o'clock in the evening now. Will I take you home at 11? Nanyan was stunned for a moment, then nodded, yeah, there's no rush. It makes no difference to her whether she goes back early or late. Mr. An always felt relieved knowing that she and Qin Lu were together. She was a little curious about where Boss Qin wanted to take her to, which would make her feel better. Back to the car, Qin Lu asked Nan Yan to get up first. He walked to the side mysteriously, apparently talking on the phone. Nan Yan didn't eavesdrop either. Surprise, what is required is the effect of surprise. If you hear it in advance, the effect will be greatly reduced by then. 3 minutes later, Qin Lu got in the car. Nan Yan leaned back on the seat lazily and casually, stroking the seat belt buckled on her chest with her hand, and asked casually, "Brother, where do you want to take me?" Qin Lu buckled up his seat belt and smiled faintly, "Keep it a little mysterious." "Okay." She said that she was looking forward to it. The car started and drove for about 20 minutes before stopping in the suburbs. It's only more than half an hour until 11 o'clock. And it will take about 20 minutes to go back to the old house. It seemed that there were only 10 minutes left for him. She wanted to know how Qin Lu wanted to make her happy. After getting off the car, Nan Yan felt a heavy weight on her shoulders. Looking sideways, Qin Lu's suit jacket was placed on her shoulders. Wearing only a white shirt, he stood beside her tall, with gentle and caring eyes. Qin Lu rubbed her cheek, curved his lips and smiled, "Yan Yan, don't look at brother, look up at the sky." Nan Yan wanted to say, "Isn't looking at him better than looking at the stars?" At least, she never tires of seeing his face. However, despite thinking this, she still followed his words and looked up at the sky. Today is a very clear night, the stars are big and bright. And here in the suburbs, there are no high-rise buildings blocking the view, the vision is wide, and you can see the complete night view. It's pretty. However, she still thinks that Qin De Lao is better looking. Just as she was about to say something, there was a sound of breaking through the sky, and a ray of light quickly flew into the sky. Then a gorgeous firework exploded. 1, 2, more and more fireworks rose into the sky, and most of the sky was illuminated by colorful fireworks. In the night, beautiful and gorgeous, forming a prosperous and beautiful scene. Nan Yan was stunned. Most of her life was busy and closed. There was no chance to see so many fireworks. It was really beautiful. The originally gloomy mood became bright after seeing these fireworks. Her face showed uncontrollable surprise, the corners of her lips rose, and her eyes were bright. Qin De Lao, who had been watching her, leaned close to her ear and asked softly, "Yan Yan, do you like it?" "Yeah," Nan Yan nodded, "I like it." She really likes it? The bad mood before, just like these fireworks, all disappeared. Nan Yan grabbed Qin Lu's hand, smiled sweetly, and curved her lips, "Brother, thank you." Brother doesn't like these 3 words. Qin Lu's eyes were dark, and the depths of his eyes were like a whirlpool, trying to absorb her mind. "Yan Yan, compared to these 3 words, brother wants to hear you say the other 3 words." Nan Yan was slightly stunned. Which 3 words? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 302. Qin Lu stroked her cheek with his fingertips, his eyes slightly lowered, reflecting the girl's confused face, and then he smiled softly. "It's not appropriate to say these 3 words now. Brother hopes to hear you say them to me in person in the future." Nan Yan thought about it and thought of the 3 words that Qin Lu wanted her to say. Which 3 words were they? She just guessed the 3 words he wanted her to say, and her cheeks were slightly hot. Fortunately, it was night and he couldn't see her blushing. Qin Lu didn't want to embarrass her. It was originally to make her happy. If he made her unhappy again, it would be a waste to prepare this fireworks feast. Nan Yan looked up and looked at the bright light in the sky, as if all the troubles disappeared at this moment. Qin Lu stood beside her. She looked at the sky, he looked at her. It was exactly 10:59 p.m. when they returned to the old house from the suburbs. 1 minute to 11 o'clock. Punctuality is one of Qin Lu's characteristics. What time do you say you will send her home? That's what time it is. Nan Yan unbuckled her seat belt and said obediently, brother, goodbye. Qin Lu's eyes were warm, go to bed early. Okay. Hashtag. The next day was Monday, and Nan Yan came to school. As soon as she entered class 4 of senior 2, she heard people in the class whispering about something. A few words reached her ears. The Dean of Studies was dismissed. What happened? Nan Yan's voice was very cold. The people in the class were talking secretly, and when they heard her voice, they were all scared. Boss, you don't know yet. Gu Yuhao saw that Nan Yan's expression seemed to be ignorant, and hurriedly said, just this morning, a statement was suddenly issued on the campus internet, saying that the Dean of Studies abused his power and caused a very bad influence, so he was dismissed and wanted to be expelled. After listening to it, Nan Yan did not even enter the classroom again, and turned around and walked out directly. The students in the class shouted, "Hey, boss, where are you going? We are about to have class." Another classmate said, "Are you stupid? Boss has such a good relationship with the dean. Now that the dean is in trouble, how can she not be anxious?" That's right. Gu Yuhao pursed his lips. In fact, I don't believe that the dean would abuse his duties and do something that harms the school. This is definitely not right. That's right, I also think there is a problem here. The dean is dedicated to the school, especially when everyone questioned boss and wanted her to drop out. It was the dean who supported boss, so that boss was not expelled from the school. Okay, everyone stop talking about this, review well, don't forget, we promised boss that the average score of this exam will be 20 points higher than before. We can't manage school affairs, so let boss manage it. We must work hard and not let boss down. Gu Yuhao ended the discussion with one sentence, and everyone took out their books and studied seriously. Hashtag. Nan Yan came out of the teaching building, did not go to find the principal, but left the school, took a taxi at the school gate, and went directly to the dean's house. Luo Xiaojun heard the doorbell, looked at the dean who was sitting on the sofa smoking, sighed, and went to open the door. As soon as she opened the door, she saw Nan Yan standing outside and was surprised. "Yan Yan? Why is it you?" Nan Yan nodded to her and asked softly, "Teacher's wife, is the teacher at home?" "At home, that, old you." Luo Xiaojun turned around and shouted, "Quickly put out your cigarette, Yan Yan is coming, don't choke her." Then she turned around and said to Nan Yan, "Yan Yan, come in quickly, the teacher's wife will make you delicious food later, stay for dinner." When Yu Ziwen heard that Nan Yan was coming, his face flashed with surprise, and he quickly crushed the cigarette in his hand into the ashtray, and got up to open the window in the room. As soon as the window was opened, Nan Yan followed Luo Xiaojun in. "It was only 2 or 3 days since I last saw the dean, he seemed to have aged a dozen years, with a decadent face." "Yan Yan, why didn't you go to class today?" Yu Ziwen tried to make his emotions more normal, not wanting Nan Yan to see his abnormality. However, he then thought that the principal and his team had already posted a notice on the campus website, and Nan Yan's arrival also meant that she knew about it. "Ah." Yu Ziwen sighed, not knowing how to face Nan Yan. Nan Yan walked up to him, staring at him with her black and white eyes. "Even after something like this happened, you didn't want to find me. Do you think that what I said to you before was a lie?" "No," Yu Ziwen wanted to explain, "Yan Yan, I know you are capable, but your focus is to study hard. My business has nothing to do with it. Anyway, I'm tired and want to have a good rest. It's okay to just retire like this." "Is this what you really mean?" Nan Yan smiled without emotion, and her tone was oppressive. "Yu Ziwen. This student has such a bad temper. He didn't even dare to look her in the face." "Yan Yan." Yu Ziwen was embarrassed, wanting Nan Yan to save him some face and not say it so bluntly. How could he really mean it? He was inexplicably accused of abusing his power and damaging the interests of the school. Not only was he dismissed and expelled from the school, but he was also investigated and even subject to legal sanctions. He was so angry that he wanted to die with that group of people. But what could he use to fight against that group of people? He has been teaching for his whole life, but he has no background or connections, so he can only accept this loss. Luo Xiaojun saw that the atmosphere was a bit wrong, so she hurried over and brought fruit to Nan Yan, asking her to eat. Nan Yan glanced at the dean, sat on the sofa, took out the laptop from her school bag, opened the cover, and turned it on. She put the computer on her legs and typed quickly on the keyboard with both hands. Yu Ziwen sat opposite her awkwardly, not knowing what Nan Yan was doing. "Leave this matter to me. You can take this time off and relax. Or you can take your master's wife out for a trip. Don't think too much. Come back after I solve it." "Yan Yan, what do you want to do?" Yu Ziwen's expression was anxious. "Don't mess around. You can't offend those people." Nan Yan didn't raise her head and said lightly, "I can't afford to offend anyone. I want to see how they can make me unable to offend them. Yan Yan, listen to me. This matter involves a lot, much bigger than you think. Don't be impulsive. It really doesn't matter to me. At most, I can retire early. It happens that your master's wife is not in good health. I plan to take her to the countryside and take good care of her body. I originally planned to wait for a few years, but now I don't have to wait. It's good." Nan Yan put her hands on the keyboard, raised her head, and looked at him. "You can retire and take your master's wife to the countryside to recuperate, but I won't allow you to leave like this." Her voice was a little deeper. "You don't care, but I do. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 303. Yu Ziwen couldn't help but tremble in his heart. He looked at the girl. The seriousness in Nan Yan's eyes and the coldness between her eyebrows made him speechless for a moment. She really wants to take care of his business. Yu Ziwen didn't know Nan Yan's background. He only knew that Nan Yan was the unfavored biological daughter of the Yin family, and now she was in a turmoil with the Yin family. If it weren't for Mr. N's love for her, I'm afraid she wouldn't even have a place to live. How did she want to help him? Nan Yan saw that the dean of teaching was silent, and continued to look through the surveillance. She had implanted a small program on the principal's computer and mobile phone before, which could monitor his every move. The people he contacted during this period, as well as the content of the conversation, were all stored on her computer. Luo Xiaojun came over with the dessert she made, and saw the way the two of them got along, and was a little confused. What's going on? Why does her husband look like a student who has been scolded by the teacher? Yan Yan, the desserts are here, remember to eat them. Nan Yan raised her head and smiled at her. Okay, master's wife. Luo Xiaojun straightened up, turned her head to look at Yu Ziwen, and asked in a low voice, what's wrong? Yan Yan looks very unhappy. Yu Ziwen glanced at Nan Yan opposite, and said helplessly, it's not that she looks unhappy, but she is. Luo Xiaojun glared, how did you offend her? Yan Yan is so good-natured that she will get angry. Are you too much? Yu Ziwen. He was wronged. Nan Yan said leisurely, master's wife, the teacher said that he wants to take you on a trip tomorrow. Where do you want to go? Travel, Luo Xiaojun looked puzzled, where to travel? How can I be in the mood to travel now? It's because I'm in a bad mood that I let you go and relax. Master's wife, you don't have to worry about the teacher's affairs. I will solve it. Yan Yan, it's enough that you have this heart, but how can you, a little girl, shake the thigh of capital? Luo Xiaojun couldn't help being moved. Since Yu Ziwen got into trouble, no matter who they called, the other party was vague or perfunctory, fearing that they would be implicated and get into trouble. No one offered to help, and no one even took the initiative to ask. Unexpectedly, the only one who took the initiative to care was a little girl who was still in school. Their legs are not big, it's not difficult to deal with them. Nan Yan hit enter, and a voice came from the laptop's speakers. Yu Ziwen's face suddenly changed when he heard those voices. It was a recording of the principal's phone call with someone else. It said that the matter was exposed, and then discussed to put all the responsibility on Yu Ziwen. And the recording was not just one section, but several sections, the content of the conversation between the principal and different people. The content revolved around letting Yu Ziwen take the blame, letting him take all the responsibilities, all the plans, and the connections, all of which were clearly described. These bastards! Luo Xiaojun was so angry that his face turned red. Such a good-tempered person almost smashed everything on hand. I will post these recordings online now. Someone will call you later. You don't have to pay attention to them. Just turn off your phone. Teacher, master's wife, I told you to go on a trip. I'm not kidding. If no one answers their calls, they will definitely come to your house to find you, which will threaten your personal safety. Yu Ziwen said seriously, Yan Yan, will you be in danger if you expose these? Nan Yan raised her eyebrows, her unruly eyebrows and eyes showed her domineering attitude. If they dare to come to me, I will make them regret living in this world. Luo Xiaojun's phone suddenly rang. Seeing the caller ID, she looked at Yu Ziwen anxiously. It's Xiaoan. He must know about this and called to ask about the situation. Yu Ziwen sighed, answer it, Yan Yan is in charge of this matter, which can prove my innocence. Don't let Xiaoan worry. Yes. Luo Xiaojun answered the phone. Yu Qian's anxious voice came over, Mom, what happened to Dad? Why are people saying online that Dad abused his power and used his power for personal gain? How could Dad do such a thing? Is it serious? Luo Xiaojun hurriedly said, Xiaoan, don't worry, your dad was framed, and now they have found the evidence to frame your dad. Nothing will happen. You study hard outside, don't worry. Yu Qian, is Dad very sad? I will take a leave now and go back to take care of you. Yu Ziwen took the phone from Luo Xiaojun. No, your mom and I plan to go out for a few days and come back after the matter is settled. Yu Qian, okay, then you and Mom go and relax first, and I will go back after you come back. Nan Yan waited for Yu Ziwen to hang up the phone, asked them where they wanted to go, booked tickets for them directly, helped them pack their luggage, and sent them to the airport. Hashtag. After seeing off Yu Ziwen and Luo Xiaojun, Nan Yan logged into her social platform and posted the videos and audios online. By the way, at the Education Bureau and other official platforms. And this news was pushed to the top of the hot search list, and even the staff could not revoke or delete it. Suddenly, many netizens went crazy. The president of a university actually colluded with outsiders and made profits by relying on the school after the matter was exposed. He also framed the dean of teaching. It really opened my eyes. No wonder students are paying more and more fees now. The tuition fees of aristocratic schools are already sky high, but they still use various means to make money. They are greedy. I said that the dean of Zhide High School is responsible for students and cares about students. It is impossible for him to do such a thing. It turns out that he was pushed out as a scapegoat. Request for strict investigation. Must be severely punished. Principal's office. The principal looked at the hot searches on Weibo. The phone kept ringing beside him, and he didn't dare to answer it. The phone was turned off and thrown aside. He grabbed his hair in annoyance, his face full of panic. How could the recordings and videos be exposed? Where did these things come from? He didn't even know that he had been under someone's surveillance and was recorded and videotaped without any warning. It's over. It's all over. Not only is he, the principal, finished, but several superiors who were related to this matter have been caught together. Now they are all held accountable. The incident was so serious that he might have to spend the rest of his life in prison. Just when the principal was at a loss, the door of the principal's office was knocked loudly. Someone shouted outside, "Principal, the Education Bureau is calling." The principal's body trembled, and the panic in his eyes became even worse. I didn't want to answer it. But he couldn't ignore this call. It didn't make much difference whether he answered it or not. The principal stared at the name of the post on Weibo, and suddenly burst into resentment. Nan Yan. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 304. He just found out that the person who posted the post was Nan Yan. How did she get these things? The principal hated Nan Yan very much, but now, there was still a knock on the door outside, asking him to answer the phone. He could only restrain his hatred and go to open the door. There was also a teacher from Zhide High School outside, but the teacher who used to respect him very much now looked at him with a hint of disgust. He gritted his teeth and took the phone from the teacher. "Hello, I am the principal of Zhide High School." Then, the words coming from the other end of the phone made him feel dizzy, his face turned pale, and even his lips trembled with fear. "I know." The principal responded in a lost and soul-stirred way, returned the phone to the teacher, then walked into the office and sat in his seat. This is his last day sitting in this position. The principal looked at the post on the computer screen sinisterly, suddenly decided something, took the phone and turned it on again. He ignored the crazy influx of short messages and missed call reminders, and directly dialed a number. He was not having a good time, and he couldn't let go of the person who hurt him. After the principal finished the call and deleted all the chat and call records on his phone, the police car arrived. All the teachers and students of Zhide High School watched the principal being taken away by the police uncle and began to speculate that the world of Zhide High School was about to change. Hashtag. Just as Nan Yan guessed, Yu Ziwen and Luo Ziajun had just boarded the plane when someone came to their house to look for them. And they didn't look like good people, and they had bad intentions. They knocked on the door for a long time, but no one responded. They looked around and made sure that there was no one inside. In the end, they had to return empty-handed and report back. But what they didn't know was that their every move was recorded by the pinhole camera that Nan Yan had specially arranged before leaving. After receiving the video, Nan Yan directly posted it online. For a while, the hot search that had not yet dropped in popularity rose again. Some people began to worry whether the dean of teaching would be in danger. Some people even called on the public security department to strengthen the protection of innocent people and prevent them from being deliberately sought for revenge and harmed. After arriving at the place, Luo Ziajun opened her phone and saw the hot search, and couldn't help but feel lucky. Fortunately, we listened to Yanyan and went out to travel, otherwise it would be unknown whether we could survive today. Yu Ziwen was still rational, shook his head and said, "They won't be so crazy, I guess they just want to threaten me to admit all the charges to protect them. But if they can't find us, will they go to Yanyan for trouble?" Luo Ziajun was a little worried. Yanyan is really, she doesn't know how to post anonymously, how to use her own account, this is too obvious. Yu Ziwen couldn't help but think of what Nanyan had said to him, and Qin Lu who was with her, and he suppressed the emotions in his eyes and said to his wife Yan Yan has the ability to protect herself, we just need to take care of ourselves. Luo Ziajun nodded, that's right, Yan Yan is so powerful, she must be sure and guessed that they would do this. Since she chose to publish it under her own identity, it must be the result of careful consideration. It's a rare opportunity to travel, so don't think too much. I have always wanted to take you out for a trip, but I have been tripped by various things and failed. This time it's just right to fulfill our wish. Yu Ziwen took his wife's hand and said gently, let's go for a good walk. Luo Ziajun blushed. They are already an old couple, and she was embarrassed by such a passionate attack suddenly. But she still suppressed her embarrassment and nodded, yeah. Hashtag. Master, someone is investigating Miss Nan again, it seems that they want to touch her. Wu Yu reported the situation while secretly looking at Qin Lu's expression. It's really asking for death. Dare to set your sights on Miss Nan, how desperate must he be to dare to do such a stupid thing? Qin Lu's face was cold and fierce, and a hint of murderous aura rose in his black pupils. Find out all those who secretly participated in this matter and uproot them. Brother Qin's words directly included everyone. Whether they were plotting against Nan Yan or not, they were all treated equally and dealt with. Wu Yu nodded quickly, and then did it quickly. He said that these people were unlucky and dared to touch Miss Nan. I guess they were in a hurry to reincarnate. Qin Lu was worried about Nan Yan and called her. Yan Yan, where are you? Brother will go to find you. Anyway, he handed the project to Shen Junqing to take charge, and he was much freer now. In order to protect his little friend, he planned to stay close to her. At home Nan Yan was a little confused. Are you not busy? Qin Lu smiled softly, well, not busy. Oh, come over then. After hanging up the phone, Qin Lu drove to the Yan family's old house in person. After Nan Yan came out of Yu Ziwen's house, she manipulated public opinion at home and posted those posts. After Qin Lu came, he saw that she was busy, so he went downstairs to play chess with Mr. An. He killed time while improving his favorability. Hashtag. In the afternoon, Nan Yan was going to the first hospital to see Professor Yun. Mr. Tao told her that Professor Yun had woken up this morning and was in good spirits. But she still had to come and see him in person. Qin Lu acted as a driver and drove her there. As soon as the two arrived outside the ward, they ran into Yun Jingshan coming out. Dr. Nan, thank you so much. As soon as Yun Jingshan saw Nan Yan, he thanked her gratefully. My mother woke up today, her condition has improved greatly, and the pain that has tortured her for so long has completely disappeared. Nan Yan looked calm, she had known this result for a long time. After Yun Jingshan was excited, she said calmly, Mr. Yun, please be more filial in the future. Yun Jingshan's surprised expression froze. The excitement and joy in his heart were extinguished by a basin of cold water. Yes. Even though his mother looks much better now, after all, her body has not recovered, and she only has 3 years left to live. Before, because they were busy with various research, they were separated from each other. Even if they were in the same laboratory, they were busy with their own things, and sometimes they could not see each other for a month or two. I used to think that they still had a lot of time, and they could get together again after they were done. But now. Yun Jingshan looked solemn and nodded vigorously, I will. Nan Yan nodded lightly, I'll go in and see Professor Yun. Yun Jingshan originally planned to go out, and followed Nan Yan and Qin Lu back to the ward. Professor Yun's spirit was indeed much better than before. Because the lesions were under control, and there was T-2 medicine to repair her body, although only one night had passed, it had a magical effect. After greeting Professor Yun, Nan Yan felt her pulse. After feeling the pulse, she looked at Professor Yun and said, your body has recovered well, Professor Yun, you can stay in the hospital for another half a month and you can be discharged. Professor Yun glanced at Qin Lu, and then said to Nan Yan, Dr. Nan, can I talk to you alone? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 305. Professor Yun glanced at Qin Lu, and then said to Nan Yan, Dr. Nan, can I talk to you alone? Nan Yan, yes. Qin Lu left the ward without Nan Yan saying anything. Yun Jingshan followed him out. When only Nan Yan and Professor Yun were left in the ward, Professor Yun could not hide his excitement and asked, "Dr. Nan, did you use T-2 to treat my body?" Nan Yan's mind moved slightly. It was so easy to guess, it seems that her previous worries were indeed correct. It is estimated that once Professor Yun is discharged from the hospital and people see that she is getting better, they will start to speculate what special medicine she used. Professor Yun is not only famous in China, but also in the world. The fact that she was diagnosed with advanced cancer and was in critical condition was also widely reported in the international version. A pillar of China, a leading scientist, and has won numerous international awards, and has been ranked in the top 50 most influential people in the world several times. Her influence is really too great. Nan Yan's silent expression made Professor Yun sigh. It seems that my guess was right. Dr. Nan, it's such a waste for you to give me this T-2 reagent. If it can be handed over to our national laboratory and let them research the formula, it will benefit more people. Country is proud of its research on T-2 reagent in the international arena, and even mocks our country for not being able to research it. What a good opportunity, I wasted it. Professor Yun couldn't help but clench his hands slightly at the end, and the unwillingness and regret on his face were difficult to conceal. Nan Yan listened to her quietly, vaguely guessing her intention to talk to her alone. Professor Yun calmed down for a moment, and looked at Nan Yan seriously and sincerely. "Dr. Nan, I have an unwelcome request. I want to invite you to join the national laboratory to develop the T-2 agent that belongs to our China. I know that my request is a bit difficult for you. You can get the T-2 reagent from country M, and it is obvious that you have a close relationship with that country, but I still hope that you can serve the country and develop the scientific research of the motherland." Nan Yan could clearly feel the sincere love for the country in Professor Yun's bones. She dedicated her whole life to the country. She also took her son on this road, so that he could serve the country like her. Nan Yan lowered her eyes, and various thoughts flashed through her mind in an instant. Finally, she held Professor Yun's hand and answered clearly, "Okay." Her parents were originally Chinese scientists, but they were finally driven out of the laboratory because they were excluded and slandered. When she was a child, she had heard her parents say many times that their roots were Chinese and they would be Chinese all their lives. Returning to the national laboratory has always been her parents' wish. Since mom and dad can't come back, she will help them realize their dreams. "Great," Professor Yun saw Nan Yan agreed, and his excited face was full of smiles. "I'll call the director and tell him about you." Nan Yan patted her hand to calm her excitement. "Professor Yun, I went to the National Laboratory a few days ago, and Deputy Director Chen has applied for a special pass for me. After I finish the college entrance examination, I will report to the National Laboratory." "Did Mu Chen invite you?" Professor Yun smiled. "He is still one step faster. In this case, let him arrange it." Her mind is to strive for Nan Yan to enter the National Laboratory. Since it has been reached, it doesn't matter who does it. Nan Yan and Professor Yun talked for a while, and Professor Yun began to feel sleepy, so Nan Yan got up and left. Outside the door, Qin Lu and Yun Jingshan sat quietly on the bench in the corridor. It is estimated that they have nothing in common, so they each hold their mobile phones and do not talk. Qin Lu heard the door open and looked up at the door. "Have you finished talking?" Nan Yan walked to his side. "Well, I'll go see the third brother again, and we'll go back after that." Qin Lu curved his lips and smiled dotingly. "Okay." After staying in Fuyubai's ward for another half an hour, Nan Yan's expression changed slightly because of a message. "Third brother, I have something to do. I'll come to see you when I have time. Now I'm going back first." Fuyubai said gently, "Go." After that, he added, "Little sister, if you don't have time, don't worry about the third brother. I'm here, it's fine." I have time. Nan Yan was anxious and didn't say anything more. She grabbed Qin Lu's hand and walked out. Qin Lu had long legs and followed her easily. It was rare to see her so anxious, and couldn't help asking, "Yan Yan, what's wrong?" Nan Yan's eyes were slightly condensed. "I'm going to the airport to pick someone up." Bai Chen had just sent her a message. He had just arrived at Jinshanj airport and had already got off the plane. Although Bai Chen didn't say that she should pick him up, she couldn't leave him at the airport and let him take a taxi to find her. This is disrespectful to him. So, she replied to him and asked him to wait at the airport for a while. She would be there soon. Qin Lu raised his eyebrows thoughtfully. "Friend?" Nan Yan nodded. "Yes, a very important friend." Oh, Qin Lu pinched her little hand. "Don't worry, brother will take you to the airport to pick him up right away." Nan Yan suddenly stopped and looked up at him. "Brother, I want to go by myself. He has a special status and doesn't like to interact with outsiders." "Brother, can I borrow your car?" Qin Lu didn't expect that Nan Yan would refuse his company. Seeing the little guy's serious expression, he had no choice but to take out the car keys and put them in her palm. "Go ahead and drive away. I'll call Wu Yu to pick me up. Then I'll leave first." Nan Yan took the car keys, left Qin Lu behind, and trotted into the elevator. Mr. Qin, who was thrown away, gritted his teeth expressionlessly. Who is the little guy's friend? Hashtag. Airport. Bai Chen was dressed in white casual clothes, pushing a small suitcase, walking slowly and leisurely through the airport like a stroll. This is his first time in China. If it weren't for Nan Yan, he probably wouldn't have come here in his life. Although he has ordinary Chinese ancestry, he has no sense of belonging to China. It is probably because he grew up abroad, has never been to China, and has never paid much attention to things here. But for now, it feels pretty good to him. At least, he liked the environment and modern facilities here. After walking out of the airport passage, Bai Chen casually found a conspicuous place, sat on the 18-inch silver suitcase with his long legs bent, and waited for Nan Yan to pick him up. I haven't seen her for 3 years, so I don't know how much she has changed. Are you more beautiful than before? After waiting for about 20 minutes, a very impressive Rolls-Royce parked not far from him. Then, a beautiful girl got out of the car and walked straight towards him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 306. Nan Yan stood directly in front of Bai Chen. Bai Chen originally thought that this little girl was looking for him. But seeing her standing in front of him steadily and not ready to leave, he couldn't help but say, "Little sister, what's wrong?" Although he knew that he was very handsome, he wore a black mask and a hat to keep a low profile. How did this little girl see his superb appearance hidden under the mask? Bai Chen. Nan Yan called him clearly. Bai Chen's expression suddenly surprised. How do you know my name? You are, Nan Yan. Bai Chen looked her up and down. If your face has been disguised and your appearance has changed, it's fine, but how come your body shape, figure, and age have changed? This is unlikely. Nan Yan's age looks too young. At most, she is only 20 years old. But Nan Yan's real age is 25. And her real body is the type of beautiful and glamorous queen. No matter how much disguise she makes, she can't become the little lowly she is now. Bai Chen's eyes became blank and inquiring. Nan Yan's eyes moved slightly. She knew Bai Chen had a lot to ask her, but this was not the place to talk. Get in the car first. After saying that, she turned around and went back to the car. Bai Chen stood there for a few seconds, followed with his small suitcase. Because the suitcase was not big, he didn't put it in the trunk, but directly put it in the back seat, and he returned to the passenger seat. You. Bai Chen looked at Nan Yan's face without any trace of disguise, frowned, wanted to ask something, met her indifferent and calm eyes, and suppressed it temporarily. Wait a minute. It's not appropriate to talk while driving, so it's better to wait until we get to the place and ask her in detail. Hashtag. Because Bai Chen hadn't eaten yet, Nan Yan drove directly to a restaurant. After ordering the dishes, waiting for the dishes to be served, and closing the door of the private room, Bai Chen couldn't help but stared at Nan Yan with sharp eyes. Who are you? You've already guessed it? Nan Yan picked up the tableware, and her cold eyebrows were not covered at all, allowing him to look at her. Bai Chen stared at her for several minutes, and finally scratched his hair. What's going on? How did you become like this? He believed that the person in front of him was Nan Yan. After all, only Nan Yan knew that he came to Huaguojinchinj. And, he felt an inexplicable sense of familiarity from her. I was in the laboratory when the fire broke out, and I was shot in the heart before the fire broke out. I thought I was going to die, but after the world fell into darkness, I woke up again and became like this. Nan Yan's tone was very calm, indifferent, as if she was talking about someone else's business. She didn't care at all whether Bai Chen would think she was crazy if she told such a shocking thing. But with her understanding of Bai Chen could accept her resurrection from the dead. It's Shishkin, right? Bai Chen's face was completely gloomy, and the aura around him became a little terrifying. He actually dared to attack you, he was really looking for death. The handsome and elegant man was like Shura possessed at this time, full of cold and murderous aura. Nan Yan calmly cut a piece of goose liver and put it in her mouth, with a firm voice. I will avenge my revenge myself, he is mine, don't interfere. What are you going to do? Recently, the President of the United States has begun to doubt his ability because Shishkin has not handed him the T-2 reagent. When the President is sure that he can't produce the T-2 reagent, all the honors he has been waiting for will be taken back. By then, he will be expelled from the Supreme Research Institute, and it will be easy for me to kill him. However, she will not let him die so easily. The revenge of her parents, plus her own revenge. She will make him live a life worse than death and perish in despair. Kaka. Because of the strong killing intent, she did not control the strength of the knife in her hand, and the white porcelain plate was cut in half with one knife. She just took a look, then calmly took away the broken plate and replaced it for herself. Bai Chen. Sure enough, even if she changed her skin, she was still her. Okay, if you have a plan, then follow it. But if you need help, you must tell us. I'll tell Li Yuan and Zy Gui about your situation right away. Tell them. Nan Yan knew that with Bai Chen's arrival, her identity could no longer be concealed. Moreover, she did not continue to hide it from them. The three of them had a close relationship with her and were friends who had risked their lives for each other. They were completely trustworthy. How long do you plan to stay in Jinchinj? After sending the message, Bai Chen put down his phone. It depends. Anyway, I'm bored recently, so I might as well spend more time with you. Yeah. Hashtag. Qin Lu waited for Wu Yu and returned to the Atlantis Hotel when a call came in. Master, Bai Chen, one of the 4 major managers of the Dark Domain, went to China secretly today. It seems that his destination is Jinchinj. Are you sure it's Bai Chen? On the other end of the phone, Qin San said in a serious tone, yes. After repeated confirmation, Bai Chen's identity was locked. Qin Lu's expression was slightly condensed. The several managers of the Dark Domain are all powerful people. Li Yuan and Zy Gui have disclosed some of their information to the public. Bai Chen and Pioneer are the 2 most mysterious ones. Bai Chen had shown up once or twice, and Pioneer, after being created in the Dark Domain, only appeared in the name of the website administrator. Apart from this, no news about Pioneer has been leaked. Why did Bai Chen suddenly come out to Jinqing? Check his purpose. If it has nothing to do with us, then don't make enemies. Yes, master. Qin-san agreed, paused for a moment, and then said. Master, the 7 Deadly Sins member Strayer who you asked me to track last time has recovered and started to contact some members of the organization. There is no news that will harm us and Miss Nan for the time being. Continue to track. Notify me in time if there is any news. Understood. Qin Lu hung up the phone and leaned over to take a cigarette from the cigarette box on the coffee table. With the crisp sound of the lighter opening and closing, a cluster of blue flames appeared at his fingertips. After lighting it, Qin Lu stood up and stood in front of the French window. It was completely dark outside, and I didn't know if the little guy had received anyone. What is she doing now? Whenever Mr. Qin thought about the kid refusing to take him to see his friends and abandoning him in the hospital out of anxiety, he would feel depressed. What a heartless little girl. Hashtag. After dinner, when Nan Yan was about to send Bai Chen to the hotel he wanted to stay in, she received a call from Anziran. Yan Yan, are you free now? If you are free, come to the company to try out the equipment. Anziran's tone was doting, and there was a hint of request. Nan Yan remembered what Anziran had told her before, asking her to go to the company to live broadcast. She was free, but Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 307. Bai Chen saw Nan Yan looking at him, raised his eyebrows and smiled. It's boring to go to the hotel, how about taking me with you? Okay, Nan Yan responded without any objection, and said to Anziran on the phone, wait for me for 10 minutes, I'll go now. Anziran, wait, Yan Yan, who is with you? From the sound, it doesn't sound like Qin Lu. Well, it's not him, a friend. Anziran's voice suddenly rose, you are alone with him. Nan Yan, is there a problem? No. No problem. Anziran couldn't help but curse Qin Lu in his heart. How did he take care of his little sister, but let other men take advantage of it? It seems that he has to talk to him properly next time they meet. If he has the courage. After Nan Yan hung up the phone, Bai Chen asked thoughtfully, who called you? My 4th brother. Nan Yan reacted, the family in this body now. Bai Chen and the others knew her original situation. He treats you well. Nan Yan nodded without any hesitation, yeah. Bai Chen chuckled, it can be considered a little gain. Hashtag. AEG Esports Club. Anziran and Deputy Captain Chen Lang waited for Nan Yan to arrive at the door. Chen Lang held a cigarette in his mouth and leaned lazily against the door frame. Captain, you are not afraid of your sister, are you? Who said that? Anziran immediately retorted. If you are not afraid of her, why did you run to the door to wait after hanging up the phone, and your expression is still so nervous? I am. Anziran gritted his teeth, I am worried. My younger sister is so outstanding and beautiful, he is afraid that she will be deceived by a bad man. Qin Lu, that unreliable guy, probably doesn't know that someone is secretly dating my younger sister without telling him. Useless. Qin Lu, who was far away in the Landis Hotel, opened his laptop and was working, suddenly felt an itchy nose and sneezed. Rubbing his nose, he looked up at the window. Did he catch a cold because he didn't close the window? Thinking of this possibility, Qin Lu's face darkened. Impossible. He is definitely not that weak. Brother Qin refused to believe that he was in poor health, and then threw this idea behind his head and devoted himself to work. After Chen Lang finished smoking 2 cigarettes, Nan Yan arrived. The black Rolls-Royce stopped at the door of the club, and Anziran approached before the car stopped completely. Seeing this, Chen Lang had to follow. Nan Yan got out of the car from the driver's side, and Anziran's face changed. Why are you driving? You don't have a driver's license, what if something happens? Anxiran had a worse impression of the man she hadn't met yet. Letting a girl without a driver's license drive, her character must be bad. Nan Yan didn't get the point of Anxiran's anger. It's okay, I'm a good driver. Anxiran was troubled. It's not a question of good driving skills or not many driving skills, the point is, you are driving without a license. If you are caught by the police, you will be detained. No. Nan Yan said leisurely, no one can catch me. Her speed is so fast that even professional racers can't catch up, let alone the police. Anxiran. He was so tired. Then, Bai Chen got off the car over there. Anxiran found an object to vent his anger, looked at him angrily, and said unhappily, you are a grown man, let a girl without a driver's license drive, how can you be embarrassed? Bai Chen. Does it matter to Nan Yan whether he has a driver's license or not? He wanted to drive, but with Nan Yan around, who could touch the car? He was innocent in this accusation, okay. Nan Yan finally knew what Anxiran was angry about. She pinched her brows helplessly and explained, fourth brother, Bai Chen is in China for the first time and has never driven a domestic car. Do you think he can drive? After hearing her words, Anxiran touched his nose awkwardly, so that's the case. If that's the case, what he just said is indeed a bit inexplicable. Chen Lang felt embarrassed for him. Anxiran smiled awkwardly, well, come in first. This is Bai Chen's first visit to the esports club, and he is quite interested. After entering the door, there is a reception hall. It is used to entertain investors and people who come to negotiate contracts. The training base is on the second floor, with 4 areas for trainees and regular team members. At this point, there are still people training in the training room. Nan Yan and the others heard the sound and went in for a look. Xiaoke and the others have recovered from their injuries and have almost finished their rehabilitation training. Now their hand speed and condition have almost returned to their best level. Seeing Nan Yan, they greeted her excitedly one by one. Although Nan Yan is cold to outsiders, she is always gentle to those she knows. She responds to anyone who greets her. Bai Chen felt a little itchy after seeing the gaming equipment, and challenged Nan Yan, play a game. Anxiran looked at him suddenly. Does this guy not know how good his little sister is at gaming, or is he also a master? Nan Yan thought for a while, when we adjust the live broadcast, let's do a live PK. That's fine. Bai Chen smiled and agreed happily, and then said to Anxiran, Yan Yan's fourth brother, open another live broadcast room later, and Yan Yan and I will help you to increase your popularity. It's a rare opportunity to have a formal exchange with Nan Yan, and he is still very excited. Oh, okay, that's no problem, Anxiran nodded quickly. After the second floor, go up to the third floor. The live broadcast equipment is on the third floor. Anxiran found a special decoration company to build a live broadcast room for internet celebrities. He also reserved a room for Nan Yan. Even if Nan Yan wants to live broadcast at home in the future, this room will be reserved for her. Nan Yan took a look at her exclusive live broadcast room, which was not bad. It was not decorated with various pink tones for her, but a more neutral style, and the color matching and decoration looked quite comfortable. After sitting on the gaming chair to test the comfort, Nan Yan said, fourth brother, you go to post a Weibo now to tell fans that I am going to live broadcast. Okay. Anxiran immediately went to Weibo to post a message excitedly. Not only did he post it on his own Weibo, but he also forwarded it on the official Weibo of AEG. Later, all the AEG members who saw the message forwarded it. Nan Yan remembered her gaming Weibo account that she had not logged in for a long time, and took out her mobile phone to log in. Then, she found out that her fans had become so many. There were more than 5 million fans. She hadn't paid attention to her since the last game. Now she knew that under her account, A group of fans were clamoring for her to post updates, selfies, or even a message. After Nan Yan looked through a few messages, she went back and found the Weibo post by Anziran and reposted it. Hashtag the live broadcast will start in 10 minutes. What you want, the AEG team card name anything will be live broadcast, the room has been created, everyone come and watch. Hashtag Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 308. Hashtag the live broadcast will start in 10 minutes. What you want, the AEG team card you can choose any name will be broadcast live, the room has been created, everyone come and watch. Hashtag. Originally, because of the news sent by Anziran, the fans of the AEG team had heard the news and rushed to repost and leave messages on Weibo. Now that Nan Yan reposted it, many fans followed Anziran's message and climbed to her side again. Suddenly, a group of fans started to leave messages below. "Ah, goddess, you finally appeared. The most beautiful goddess in the esports industry, have you finally remembered your Weibo account? Goddess, look at me, I love you ah. Sit down in the front row and wait to see the goddess's beauty. I have entered the live broadcast room, goddess, can you show your face during the live broadcast?" Since Nan Yan participated in the competition, she has never managed this game account again. There is only a statement she made when she joined AEG. Those fans who came after hearing the news could only look at the empty Weibo for the past few months, hoping that Nan Yan would pamper her fans and send them a photo to lick the screen. Although the photo benefit was not waited for, but the live broadcast was waited for, which was enough. Yan, the live broadcast will start in 10 minutes. You go to the room first to debug and warm up the scene. Anziran looked at the tens of thousands of reposts and comments below within a few minutes of posting, and his emotions could not be suppressed. Okay. Nan Yan agreed lightly and entered the room created by Anziran. In the room, there were already fans who rushed in after reading the Weibo. But when Nan Yan's cold and beautiful face appeared in the live broadcast camera, the barrage was going crazy. "Ah, the goddess's peerless beauty kills me. Is this the beauty that humans can have, a fairy? Wife, wife. Get out of here, who allowed you to call the goddess wife, you are not allowed to blaspheme the goddess. Today is another day for me to fall in love. Looking at the beautiful goddess, I feel much better." Of course, in addition to fans, there are also many AEG black fans who come in and start to criticize without looking at the screen. And those trolls were then besieged by Nan Yan's fans. The management in the room also kicked out every troll they saw, trying to maintain the good environment in the live broadcast room. Bai Chen stood in a place where the camera could not see, and saw Nan Yan had entered the live broadcast room, and asked with a chuckle, "Which one should I use?" Anziran was stunned for a moment, and then said, "You go to the next room, the equipment over there is also connected, just go directly into the room after turning on the machine. Along, take Mr. Bai there." Chen Lang nodded and took Bai Chen to the live broadcast room next door. "Goddess, why don't you turn on the microphone? Want to hear the goddess voice add one? Is the goddess going to play games today to let us watch?" Nan Yan glanced at the small microphone on the computer desk, casually took it in her hand and fiddled with it for a few times, and put it back far away. Those who saw her pick up the small microphone thought she was going to turn on the microphone. In the end, she just looked at it and put the microphone back. "Everyone." Bai Chen turned on the computer and entered the room. He did not use his own account, but asked Chen Lang for one. Nan Yan made preparations and logged into her account on Shutu. You can choose any name. The live cameras switched directly to the screen after she logged into the game. The fans who could not see the goddess's beauty for a while started to cry again. "We want to see people, don't look at the cold game interface. I want to see the goddess's face. I just want to lick the goddess's beauty, please don't switch the camera." However, Nan Yan saw these people's applications and pretended not to see them. After entering the game, she remembered that after the last competition, in addition to the actual rewards, the game company also sent her some virtual rewards. So she opened her mailbox to receive them. Hashtag. The news that Nan Yan was going to live broadcast soon caused a stir in the esports circle. And it also topped the hot search list. Several esports teams couldn't help but feel jealous when they saw Nan Yan easily attract so much attention. At that moment, several teams gathered together and squeezed into Nan Yan's live broadcast room. And issued a challenge. Miss Nan, it's been a long time since the last battle. Since Miss Nan is free to live broadcast today, why don't we have a friendly match? The one who spoke was Lin Ziyu, the captain of the runner-up group of the last competition. Then, several fans they had gathered were behind them, making a fuss. Nan Yan originally wanted to compete with Bai Chen. Seeing someone post a challenge, she raised her eyebrows and typed a reply, "Okay. Enter the game, meet in the arena, and start in 5 minutes." Then, she said to Anziran, "Fourth brother, identify 3 people and apply to join my team. A friendly match is a team battle, and it must be 5 people. Now that she and Bai Chen are already in the team, just find 3 people to fill in." Anziran is eager to try, and wants to go. Can the 4th brother go? Nan Yan said lightly, "Whatever, but I suggest that you call 3 interns to make up the number. You want to play 1 to 4. 2 to 3. Nan Yan bent her lips to Anziran, "The one I brought is as strong as me. If you go, you can only be a tool and can't play a role." Anziran. This is a bit hurtful. If anyone else said this to Anziran, he would sneer and mock him back. But it happened that the one who said these words was his little sister. A little sister who is much stronger than him. And from the tone of the little sister, the one who came with her is about the same level of strength as her. When did super geniuses of this level appear in groups? I'll go find a few interns to join your team. Anziran left a sentence and went to find someone silently. On the other side, Bai Chen knew that the 5v5 team competition would be changed, and his expression was a little unhappy. Dare to disturb the competition between him and Xiao Yanyan, it's really annoying. Hashtag. Shen Junqing, who was drinking in the bar, took out his mobile phone and casually browsed Weibo in the chaos. Then, he saw a post that was highly searched, saying that Nan Yan was going to have a live PK with another team. His eyebrows raised, his charming peach blossom eyes flashed with an excited smile, and he followed the link on Weibo and went directly into the room. "Shen San Xiao, come and have a drink. You guys drink first, I have something to do and want to be quiet for a while." After Shen Junqing refused indifferently, he sat on the sofa in the corner and turned on the Bluetooth headset. Unfortunately, he listened for a long time, but only heard the music, and didn't hear Nan Yan talking. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 309. The fans in the live broadcast room did not urge him. In addition to licking the screen, some local tyrants were giving gifts. Shen Junqing could not help but raise his eyebrows in a romantic and unrestrained manner. Then he recharged 10 million on the platform and started to order the most expensive gifts, sending them one by one without rushing. "Thank you, Brother San, for giving the anchor a luxury cruise ship. Thank you, Brother San, for giving the anchor a plane. Thank you, Brother San, for giving the anchor a villa." The audience who had been swiping the screen saw the gift special effects that almost blinded people one after another, and couldn't help shouting in their hearts that they were local tyrants. You know, the cheapest virtual gifts are only 1 or 2 yuan, and the expensive ones, such as luxury cruise ships, cost B, planes cost 88 RMB, and villas cost even more. These are all real money. Before Shen Junqing swiped gifts, there were also local tyrants who gave gifts to Nan Yan. He also gave her 2 cruise ships. But Shen Junqing's way of giving gifts almost every second shocked almost everyone. Where did this super rich guy come from? Even if you have money, you don't have to spend money like this. In less than a minute, 4 or 500,000 yuan had been given away. Nan Yan didn't pay attention at first. Later, she found that the screen kept flashing gift effects. She looked carefully and frowned. She picked up her phone and called Shen Junqing. Shen Junqing was wearing a Bluetooth headset. When the caller ID popped up on the screen, he directly chose to connect. "Third brother, are you the one who sent the gift?" Shen Junqing smiled proudly. "Yes, sister, is the support from third brother powerful?" Nan Yan was silent for a moment and replied with 2 words, "Spendthrift. No more rewards, you are stupid to give half of the money to the live broadcast platform." Shen Junqing, who thought he would be praised. He just wanted to make Nan Yan happy. It seems that his actions did not make her happy. Then the third brother recharged 10 million on the platform. "Refund it?" Shen Junqing discussed with her. "The platform charges a handling fee. Yan, you see that the third brother has recharged, so how about giving all of these as rewards and pushing your room to the top of the popularity?" Nan Yan looked cold and unmoved. "No, I don't need you to reward so much, my room can also be popular." "But, the third brother wants to be your #1 fan." Shen Junqing said resentfully, "You don't have time to accompany me for dinner and racing, and even this little fun is going to deprive the third brother." Nan Yan. Hearing Shen Junqing say this, it seems as if she is an unforgivable bad person. She rubbed her eyebrows and said helplessly, "You withdraw the money you recharged on the live broadcast platform, and I will go racing with you in a few days." "Okay, then it's settled, I'll go to refund the money now." Shen Junqing left the room with satisfaction and went to refund the money first. After deducting a certain handling fee, he waved his hand and transferred the remaining more than 9 million to Nan Yan. "Yan, Brother San will not let the platform take half of it, so this money is your pocket money." Nan Yan. Rich people. Sighing, she did not refuse, and said in a gentle voice, "Thank you, Brother San." Shen Junqing's eyebrows were covered with a layer of pampering. "Do you want to PK competition?" Yan, torture them to death." "Yes," Nan Yan agreed in a light voice, "I'm going to enter the arena, hang up first." After speaking, Nan Yan cut off the call. Shen Junqing supported his head and leaned lazily on the sofa, watching Nan Yan play games. Hashtag. As the captain, Nan Yan clicked PK with the team led by Lin Xiu on the other side. The screen flashed, and the 2 teams entered the game. In order to see the battle between the 2 teams clearly, the audience watching in the room restrained the urge to post barrages and watched the game seriously. On Lin Xiu's side, there was a team temporarily formed by 3 competitive teams. Not only Lin Xiu, the team leader, but the others are all star players who have played in competitions. They are well known and have their own fan groups. When the 5 appeared, the audience covered their mouths and screamed. On the other hand, on Nanyan's side, except for the name you choose controlled by Nanyan, which is a game account that has played in competitions, no one knows the other 4. Everyone couldn't help but be curious, and made various comments on the screen before the game started. "Where are the people from AEG, why only let the little sister play by herself? Where is the 4th young master, call the 4th young master? Does the 4th young master feel that letting the goddess play against them is already an unequal situation and doesn't want them to lose too badly? You have to be serious in the friendly match, there are so many spectators watching, don't be perfunctory. Strongly request the elites of the AEG team to play, don't let my sister carry it alone." While the game was loading, Nan Yan saw the bullet screen, and after a moment of silence, he said, "Everyone just watch the game, it's a friendly match, Don't worry too much about winning or losing. Anziran almost couldn't help laughing. My little sister doesn't care about winning or losing. He was the first one who didn't believe it. It's impossible. He had already felt deeply about his little sister's terrible desire to win or lose. Looking at the bullet screen, the audience brushed those words such as friendship first, competition second, entertainment and leisure, casual competition, etc. He thought coldly, when the game starts, you will know how naive your current thoughts are. Just then, Linziu on the opposite side also opened the microphone and said with a smile, Miss Nan is right, we are just playing casually, don't worry too much about winning or losing, just play to your heart's content and have fun. Winning or losing is not important. Haha. If it is not important, they would not have called so many elites. Linziu said this on the surface, but privately he had asked people to make the live broadcast more and more popular. If Anziran, Chen Lang, Xiao Ke and others also played, he would still be a little worried that he would not win. But only Nan Yan played alone, and the remaining 4 were ordinary players, so they had a great chance of winning. They lost to Nan Yan in the game before. This time, they wanted to vent their anger and prove with their strength that their team was not bad. Then, because Nan Yan asked Shen Junqing to return the money, there were no rich people in the live broadcast room to reward, and the popularity slowed down a lot. Under the arrangement of Linziu and his team, a wave of rewards came in. Ships, planes, big villas, came in turn. In the blink of an eye, the popularity of the live broadcast rose to the top. Shen Junqing couldn't help but sigh when he saw this scene. Sure enough, Nan Yan's idea was right. He didn't need to give gifts, others would give gifts and increase the popularity. He was still a little upset when he saw that the top brother on the list was not him. Shen Junqing thought about it, and suddenly a bad idea came to his mind. He took a screenshot of the live broadcast room and sent it to Qin Lu. He sent him another message, Mr. Qin, someone is crazy in the live broadcast room to show love to Yan Yan and pursue her. The gifts have been several million. Don't you come to defend your position? Qin Ye's little ancestor is a real boss. Author, Junanan. Chapter 310. Shen Junqing didn't believe it. Qin Lu would remain indifferent to this news. He gave Yan Yan money as a reward and was scolded by her. He really wants to know if Qin Lu gives her money to reward her, will she be punished even worse? He was happy just thinking about Qin Lu being defeated. Qin Lu's eyes darkened slightly when he saw the message from Shen Junqing. He doesn't like to pay attention to things on the internet. I have been dealing with company matters just now, so I didn't know that Nanyan was going to live broadcast. He knew clearly that Shen Junqing sent the message deliberately to stimulate him, but he was still stimulated uncontrollably. At the moment, he had no intention of reading those documents anymore and downloaded a live broadcast software on his mobile phone. The live broadcast software was loaded in a few minutes. After he applied for an account and logged in, he didn't even have to look for it. The most popular room was Nan Yan's room. After entering the room, he heard Nan Yan's cold voice saying, Bai Chen, come back here and don't run around. Qin Lu's nerves tensed up for a moment when he heard the name. Then he couldn't help but laugh. He probably got a little nervous after hearing Qin San say today that Bai Chen, the core manager of the Dark Territory, appeared in Jinqing, Huaguo. The little guy is shouting loudly now, how could he be that Bai Chen? Probably the same name. Qin Lu suppressed this thought for the time being and focused his attention on the screen again. The screen in the live broadcast room is the game interface of Nanyan. He could only see the situation on her side, not the situation on the other side. After all, without professional esports equipment, the audience has no way to watch the game from a god's perspective. The anchor in the room is Nan Yan, so the live broadcast will naturally be from Nan Yan's perspective. The game was just 3 minutes old. In order to promote AEG, Nanyan slowed down the pace a lot and beat the opponent as soon as they started. It's just that Bai Chen is not very controlled and always wants to force himself to pass. After being greeted by Nan Yan, he obediently returned to her side. Bai Chen turned on the mic, and his low voice reached the ears of all the audience in the room. Xiao Yanyan, if you ask me to play this team game, you will accompany me to PK a few more times. Nan Yan, okay. The simple exchange between the two immediately caused an uproar in the room. Who is the person called Bai Chen by the goddess? This man's voice is so cool, listen well. He and his sister seem to be very familiar with each other, and the calls are so intimate I really want to show him his face and see if his appearance is as good as his voice. Am I the only one looking forward to the PK between the goddess and the man who just spoke? If he dares to challenge the goddess to a duel, his strength must not be bad. What did I hear? This man actually said that they were giving Captain Lin and others a hard time. Ha ha ha, I'll go, it's so funny, a little known person actually said that he would let Captain Lin go. It's only been 3 minutes, who's giving water to whom? Can you please be careful what you say? Don't think that just because you are an amateur, you can be disrespectful to celebrity esports players. I really liked a certain smoke at first, but after hearing these words, I was so unfavorable that I persuaded her to quit and I would no longer be a fan of her. It's not just AEG fans who are in the comment section. Through Lin Xiu's message, their fans who followed up are also not vegetarians. Lin Xiu's side was closed by Mai, but a few of them were talking privately and were already very angry. It's so crazy. Before anything happened, he said he was letting us off the hook. He must have deliberately slapped us in the face. Lin Xiu said with a gloomy face, go and find out if the person named Bai Chen is the newly hired expert in AEG. This one must be at the highest level and teach her a lesson. As long as she loses, she will immediately post the game process online and post the man's words at the same time. This wave will definitely attract a wave of black fans for them. Lin Xiu and his other teams had already purchased the hot searches and written the draft when they proposed to Nan Yan to compete. Just wait for a while and then release these after they slap Nan Yan hard in the face. Okay, stop arguing, just play the game and don't get into trouble. Hashtag. Shen Junqing is still waiting for Qin Lu to pay for gifts. As a result, after Nanyan's room shot up to the top of the popularity list, all the wealthy people in the room who sent him planes, cruise ships, and villas disappeared. There were only a few fans left who gave small gifts. There was no one who was crazy about giving gifts. To sum up, it can be seen that Qin Lu did not charge money at all. I didn't give any gifts to Nan Yan either. Depend on. What a stingy person. Shen Junqing was very unhappy that Nan Yan said that she had not deceived Qin Lu, so she simply sent another message to Qin Lu. Master Qin, who is the man with Yan Yan, it sounds like we have a good relationship. How do you plan to deal with him? Even Qin Lu couldn't tolerate him. I don't know what Qin Lu's plans are for this new guy. Not to mention Qin Lu, Shen Junqing thought that while he was away from Nan Yan, another person appeared to compete with him for favor. Even if they haven't met him, he can't help but be hostile to him. I don't know until we actually meet. Here, Qin Lu snorted coldly when he saw the news about Shen Junqing. He is too lazy to pay attention to those who are afraid of the world being in chaos. After procrastinating in the game for 10 minutes, Nan Yan's patience ran out. Mainly watching the barrages on the screen makes me very irritated. At this time, an intern from AEG died in the hands of the opposite party. The first drop of blood was obtained by the opponent. In the barrage, Lin Xiu's fans cheered like it was Chinese New Year. In comparison, Nan Yan and AEG's fans were much more depressed. Glancing at the screen, she held the microphone and said in a cold voice, Bai Chen, don't suppress it. I've been waiting for you to say this. Bai Chen's slow typing speed suddenly increased. Chen Lang, who was standing next to him and watching, couldn't help but brighten his eyes. Miss Nan's friend is really a super master. With this hand speed, even for him, it is beyond reach. Without looking at the skills, the hand speed has already explained everything in advance. When Nan Yan and Bai Chen could no longer suppress, the situation immediately reversed, and Lin Xiu and others who thought they had the upper hand immediately complained. From the time Nan Yan and Bai Chen let go of their fists and feet to the end of the battle, it only took 1 minute. This speed stunned the audience and also made Lin Xiu and others confused. "Thank you." Nan Yan's indifferent and cold voice was like a slap in their faces. It was hot, angry and ashamed. They came here aggressively, thinking they could win back a game, but in the end, they lost so badly. In order to build momentum, they also paid to send Nan Yan's live broadcast room to the top of the popularity list. It's really a loss of both the wife and the army. At that moment, Lin Xiu said awkwardly, "Miss Nan's skills are really amazing." Then he left the room with others in a dejected manner. As soon as they left, the fans who followed them did not stay and left one after another.